Welcome to FLX Weekly here on Wednesday, August 9th, 2023. I'm Jim Sinacropi inside the FingerLakes1.com studios in Seneca Falls, New York. The Tin Can Tourist will showcase vintage camping trailers from every corner of its Northeast region this September at Sampson State Park. The 16th annual Northeast Rally will feature nearly 100 campers on September 14th through 17th. Vintage trailer camper enthusiast Beth Holcomb will join us via Zoom in a moment to talk all about the event. But first, this episode of FLX Weekly is brought to you by Cicino's Pizzeria and Restaurant. Visit Cicino's at their original Waterloo location, all new renovated location in Geneva, or at Del Lago Resort and Casino. Dine in, take out, delivery, catering, and banquets. Order online at Cicinos.com. Live, laugh, and eat well. It's the Italian way. It's also the Cicino's way. And also, Pine Point Medical. Their mission is to provide you with personalized, high-quality care and are dedicated to improving your health through evidence-based medicine and treatment. Do you need a doctor who puts you first? Try an independent physician-owned practice. Schedule your appointment at pinepointmed.com or in person at their office in Lansing. So we now have Beth Holcomb via Zoom, and she'll be in town in September. She's a vintage trailer camping enthusiast, and thanks for joining us. Beth, how you doing this morning?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
So tell us a little bit about this event coming up in September. I know it's a lot of people gathering, and then there's a portion of the event that's open to the public, so just give us a little overview.
Yeah, so this year is going to be our 16th annual Northeast Regional Rally at Sampson State Park. It covers September 14th through the 17th. So we will gather on the 14th and we'll be there through the 17th. We will have meals together. We'll gather for some educational opportunities. We'll spend a lot of time just talking to each other and making connections, asking a lot of questions, learning from each other. And we do put on a public open house this Saturday that we're there. So that is Saturday, September 16th. It's from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. We are in the first two loops of Sampson State Park, so loops 1 and 2. And we fill those loops. So you will be able to tour 100 vintage trailers and motor coaches. And it's free parking, free to tour, and you can just check out really, really cool vintage trailers and talk to the owners. Well,
when we first started looking at this event and I started thinking about the vintage trailer enthusiasts, it seems to touch on a lot of things nowadays that kind of resonate with people. You have the vintage aspect, you have the outdoors aspect, you have the kind of like a downsizing type of feel to it, because these aren't like decked out RVs with all the amenities. These are like the old classic camper trailers of maybe the 1950s and 60s, if I'm correct there with that era. What about it appeals to you?
I feel like I'm an old soul, and I really appreciate, beautiful craftsmanship. I love how unique these vintage trailers are. No two are alike. And I do like the simplicity. No TVs, we play vinyl when we go camping with our trailers. So it is much simpler to maintain. It just gives you more time to enjoy where you are and who you're with. And it's just beautiful to look at too. That's
such a great variety of different styles and sizes. And you personally told me that you at one time owned 5 different trailers and now you have 3. Talk a little bit about your trailers.
Yeah, so my husband and I, we became empty nesters and we were looking for something to do. And we drove by a house that had a adorable little vintage Shasta trailer. And so I started doing some research and I was like, hey, this is a thing. So I started looking for my own and I looked at a lot that just needed way too much work. And then when I just said, you know what, I'm going to take a break, I found my very first vintage trailer in Rome, New York. It was a beautiful little 15-foot 1966 decamp that I went and looked at. I walked inside and I said, I want it. And took it home the next day. And that kind of started, my obsession with vintage trailers. And then I started looking around for other people that had them so that I could connect and start learning. And then I kept seeing more. And you see one and you fall in love, and then you have to take it home. So at one point, I did own five. Um, and I actually let my first one go to a very good friend who's also in the Tin Can Tourist. And I gave one to my son and my daughter-in-law so that they can go with us
Hmm.
and enjoy this really cool activity. And then the other three are decorating my driveway.
So you mentioned wanting to learn more about this when you first bought your first trailer and started getting into this. What are some of the things that you learned about this that maybe you didn't expect or didn't know about when you first got involved?
Well, I learned that a beautiful trailer can hide a lot of water damage. Unfortunately, these trailers have wood frames
Mm.
underneath the aluminum skins and the walls inside. So you could, you know, see a beautiful trailer, but underneath is most likely going to be a lot of water damage, and you have to address that because you don't want to be towing down the road and have your trailer disintegrate,
Sure.
which happens. So there are a lot of things you need to take into consideration safety wise. Tires, your hitch, your tow vehicle. There's a lot more to it than just seeing this cute little trailer and towing it around and camping in it. You really do have to have an eye for safety.
So
Um,
some of this work, some of it's a restoration. You'll find this great old, vintage trailer, and then decide, how to restore it. Is there that aspect of it too, the restoration of something old?
yeah, so there are a lot of online resources. There are people that post amazing, YouTube videos, and they'll walk you through the whole process from, taking the skins off, replacing the frames, putting it all back together again. That's the right way to do it.
Hmm.
Um, you know, Sometimes that you don't need to do that. That they're just, more basic things like putting new tires on or replacing the butyl tape around the windows to keep the water out. But you can do it, and there are a lot of online resources. There are also people that do it professionally.
Sure.
Um, so when you find someone and they have time, you can do that. It's not cheap. This is not a cheap hobby
Sure.
whatsoever.
So
But
compared to some of the modern RVs that have the showers and the bathrooms and the kitchens and the electricity hookups and stuff, what's inside one of these vintage trailers?
so my first trailer, which was a 1966 decamp, I had one electrical outlet. So I did have electric, but I only had one plug, and I had a couple lights, that were wired in.
Okay.
No heat, no air conditioning, no bathroom. I did have a tank, and I did have water hookup, so I could turn my sink on teeny tiny little sink, um, and that was it. Very basic, but it got me off the ground, and boy, she was beautiful to look at. I actually now have a newer 1973 Holiday Rambler that has a little more bells and whistles. I have an oven. Um, I have an electric refrigerator. I do have an air conditioner that the previous owner installed. I haven't used it yet, um, but it's there. I also have a bathroom,
Okay.
which I haven't used yet.
Hopefully that works. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's in contrast to some of the more modern options. It seems like if you're going camping and you're going out, I think a lot of people have experienced the situation of, being at a campsite and somebody runs their electric generator, and everybody's got to hear that, and it seems like there's a point where um, you're missing out on kind of the simplicity or the connecting with nature type of aspect of this hobby. If you have too many modern amenities, is there any like code between the different people that are part of the Tin Can Tourists of a line that you don't want to cross? I guess that where it no longer becomes this vintage trailer experience and becomes something different.
No. So camping, there's no right or wrong way to camp. Everybody has their own way. And actually, the Tin Can Tourist, it is an all year make and model trailer and motor coach club. It's open to everyone. So you could join and have a brand new trailer, and you would be welcome at our rallies or our groups. So again, it is all inclusive. Um, and again, there's no right or wrong way to do it. I prefer the simplicity. We don't have a generator, but we do have we have like a jackery,
Hmm.
and we will use it when we go where there's no electric hookup. We'll use it to play our record player, and that's about it. But again, there's just no right way or wrong way to do it, and we love everyone. But you just have to have an appreciation for vintage
Hmm.
and what they offer.
So the rally is at Sampson State Park in September, the
Mhm.
14th through 17th. If you're interested in checking it out, there's a free public open house on Saturday, September 16th from 11 to 3. Um, how many people do you expect?
Oh gosh, I have blasted the open house on social media, and I've tried to get the word out. We would love to see in the thousands.
Okay.
Um,
How about how many people are bringing trailers?
oh, okay. So we will have about 200 people there,
Wow.
and they will be coming in about 100 trailers. We have a lot of solo campers or, just couples. We do have some families that come and bring their kids,
Hmm.
but we're expecting about 200 actual campers, people.
Is there any combined events once everybody's there, or is it just basically everybody sets up and you mill around and visit other people? Is there any like program, I guess?
Yeah, so we actually have a couple group meals. So we'll have a giant tent kind of in the middle of all the action, and we will gather for meals and a couple happy hours.
Hmm.
And we will also have an educational opportunity where someone will come and speak. I'm not quite sure what the topic will be this year, but that's something that's very important with a Tin Can Tourist rally is an educational opportunity. So we'll gather for that. Um, and then, we'll have little breakout gatherings when we're not together as a group.
Now you host your own rally as well. That's now in its fifth year, going on sixth year. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about how that is organized and.
Yeah, so I host a rally at the end of every July in Southville, New York. I live about 3 miles from the campground there. And I get about 65 people, and the campground, basically lets me take over the entire campground for while we're there. And I fill it. I tell you, if you host it, they will come. Um, and we have a couple group meals, and we'll do a live band and bingo, and it's just a lot of fun, and just on a smaller scale. So you do connect with everybody, just because there aren't as many there.
Sure.
It's a lot of work, but it's a lot of fun.
You mentioned you and your husband got into this when you became empty nesters. Is he on the same level as you as far as interest and passion, or do you have to drag him along?
He 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 loves me very much, and he knows I can't do it without him. So he goes along with it. I think sometimes he thinks I go a little overboard, but one nice thing is that through this he discovered an interest in vintage Coleman lanterns and stoves,
Okay.
which pair really nicely with what we do. So he finds these, lanterns and stoves from the 50s and 60s, even earlier, and he works on them and he gets them going, and we actually take them and we cook with them and we light with them pretty much exclusively. So that's his thing. He's the old Coleman guy, and I'm the crazy camper lady.
Well, that sounds like a good pair.
Hmm.
Well, like I said, this is something unique. It's something that, while it sounds like it can become expensive the deeper you get into it, but certainly as an entry level, it's something that's attainable for, I think, a lot of folks. What advice would you give to someone who's listening and says, geez, this is something I think I'd be interested in? What would be like the first step?
I would definitely, do some online education. I would go to the Tin Can Tourist website, which is tincantourists.com, and there are, sections that will tell you, all about the different kinds of trailers and what to look for. Just educate yourself, and then just start looking on, Facebook Market and Craigslist. And, there are also online vintage trailer selling Facebook groups and websites. And then just, go look and really get down on your hands and knees and look in all the nooks and crannies. And just, don't fall in love at love at first sight. Try not to. Really try to go in with eyes wide open. And if it's not for you, then know that you need to walk away, and something better will come along.
So you mentioned that you have 3 trailers now, and you named it after Beatles songs.
Yeah.
Which one are you bringing up here to the Finger Lakes?
Okay, so Prudence will be coming to Sampson. She's the 1973 Holiday Rambler. And she's named after, Dear Prudence, which is a Beatles song. And then my son and his wife are going to be bringing a vintage tent trailer, which is a 1967 Cox tent trailer. And her name is Lucy, after Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds. Sure. Yeah.
So when you choose which one you're going to bring, what factors do you factor in?
If we have electric hookup, we'll bring Prudence, the big Holiday Rambler, and she's a little more comfortable. If we are going up in the Adirondacks and we don't have electric hookup, and we're maybe not sure how level the site is or how hard it's going to be to get in, we'll take one of our other vintage tent trailers, because my husband can actually lift it up and push or pull it around because it weighs so little.
Gotcha.
So we can maneuver it into all sorts of spots that the big one can't get into. So that's kind of how we decide.
Well, it's definitely something unique and fun. There's a community behind it, and it seems like, I say, something that could appeal to people on so many levels nowadays. in terms of the vintage aspect of the getting outdoors or disconnecting. So I'm glad that we were able to expose our viewers here to it, and if they want to learn more, they can head out to Sampson State Park on September 14th. Well, you guys will be there September 14th through 17th. The free public open house is Saturday, September 16th from 11 to 3. And it sounds like if people come out and visit, that they'll, and it's something they're interested in, they got a built-in community to join in the Tin Can Tourists.
Absolutely. We love to show off our trailers. We love to talk about the Tin Can Tourists. This is the place to be if you're interested or just want to look at some really cool old trailers.
Well, I appreciate you taking the time, Beth. Before we get out of here, I just got to let everybody know what the weekend looks like in terms of weather here in the Finger Lakes. I'm sure it's something you'll be looking at as the forecast up here in the Finger Lakes as we get into September, is because the weather obviously plays a pretty big part in events like this. But for this weekend, we start off Friday with mostly sunny skies and a high near 78, west winds at 13 to 15 miles per hour. It'll get down to about 60 degrees overnight Friday night, and then Saturday just a 40% chance of rain, whether it's showers or thunderstorms, mostly after 3 p.m. Otherwise partly sunny with a high near 78. Overnight Saturday getting down to about 63 with a 40% chance of showers and thunderstorms. Maybe a holdover shower on Sunday morning. Otherwise Sunday will be mostly sunny with a high near 79. So a great weekend on tap here in the Finger Lakes. Do you have any weekend plans? Are you taking the trailer out this weekend somewhere?
Actually, we're taking two out to East Aurora, New York for another Tin Can Tourist rally. It's called Toy Town Rally. And we actually will be at another public open house on Saturday from 11 to 3 in East Aurora, New York at the Fireman's Field. If anyone knows where that is. So if you're really interested, come on out to East Aurora, New York, to the Fireman's Field for another open house.
Do you ever take extended road trips, like cross-country type of deals with one of these?
Not yet. We're actually thinking about doing it next year, though. It's on the bucket list.
All right. Well, if you do, we'll have to have you back and hear how that went. Reach out as we get a little closer to September. We'd love to hear about your plans, and maybe we can run something here on FingerLakes1.com reminding people about the public open house on Saturday, September 16th. But appreciate you taking the time with us to give us a little insight into this world, and I'm pretty sure there'll be a couple of our viewers who we've piqued their interest and might pursue, looking into this a little further.
Awesome. The more the merrier.
Well, thanks, Beth. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you up here in the Finger Lakes in September.
Awesome. Thank you.
So thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the show, click like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back next Wednesday. Until then, have a great summer weekend right here in the Finger Lakes.